Good morning all. Class time is in session. I'm Lydia Dunn and the topic is time planning. Let's begin. So this morning our general objective is at the end of the lesson, students should be aware of the use, importance, need of time planning in order to complete their SBA practical examination. And in order to achieve this general or overall objective, there are some specific objectives that we also need to achieve. We're going to define the term time plan, we're going to identify the parts of the time plan, and we're going to describe the features of each part of the time plan, as well as discuss content required for each part of the time plan. Now, like I said last week, from our objectives, we're going to get our content outline. And I kind of mentioned it before, but just to ensure that you know what we're doing, I'm going to go through it again. And this is basically what would be your subtopics. So if you're taking notes, you can put subtopics like this in your books. And when we go to our KWL chart, we're going to see how we're going to break it down. So we're going to the definition of a time plan. We're going to go through the definition of a time plan. We're going to look at the parts of a time plan, the features of each part of the time plan, the content required for each part of the time plan, and of course, we can't end the lesson without creating a time plan. Now, every week I come, when I talk about my KWL chart, I cannot leave this out. When you're studying, you're going to realize how useful this will be to you. Remember, your KWL is what you know, what you want to know, and what you have learned. Your topic, of course, you'd fill out your topic time planning, what you already know about time planning, what you want to know about time planning, and what you have learned. And that is when you assess yourself at the end of the lesson. Now, I mentioned earlier in the general objective that your time planning is something that you need in order to complete your practical SBA. But what exactly is your SBA? And what exactly is time planning? So in order to know how we're going to go into time planning, we have to know what our SBA is. And your SBA is one of the profile dimensions assessed by CSEC in food, nutrition, and health is practical skills. There are three components. There are three profiles that you're assessed in food, nutrition, and health. As you know, I'm going to tell you all three areas in home economics: family resource management, textile, clothing, and fashion, and food, nutrition, and health. So though we're focusing on food, nutrition, and health, just want you to know it's for all three subject areas under the umbrella of home economics. So Profile one covers your understanding, your recollection. Profile 2 covers your application, and profile 3 covers your practical skills. Now, this means that the student should be able to plan for practical tasks adequately depending on the task required. CSEC normally sends the task. So whatever the task is that you get, you need to plan for it adequately depending on what is it that they ask you for, or ask you to execute for that matter. You're also going to do practical tasks accurately, efficiently in the allotted time. The allotted time that you are given is 2.5 hours. All practical assessments are 2.5 hours for food nutrition, for home economics. You're going to use appropriate tools with ease and dexterity. And I want you to also know that these three areas that are given, this is what is assessed when we are grading you, or we are assessing your competency in the area. You're going to demonstrate skills in planning, preparing, and serving dishes or food items. Now, right here, this is the one that we're going to be focusing on, planning. The preparing and serving dishes you'll do in the actual practical classes with your teachers. But it is very good. When you have this underpinning knowledge of how to plan, execution should come quite easily. So there are normally 3 practical assignments, each testing these practical skills. But for this academic year, you're only going to be tested for with 2 practical assignments, or on 2 practical assignments rather. So we're going to be looking at planning and preparation skills, manipulation skills, evaluation, and presentation skills. You notice that the first one is planning and preparation skills. You can't evaluate, you cannot present, and you cannot show manipulation unless you plan well. So now that you know what exactly your SBA is a task that is given to you by CSEC, and you tend to get those tasks quite early in the academic year so that you can plan efficiently and accurately too. So how do you go about planning? What exactly is a time plan? A time plan, it is a document or a guide that outlines activities to be done in a practical task within a specific time. Now, a lot of students tend to be unsure as to how they actually go about writing the time plan, creating the time plan, using accurate jargons and terminologies for the time plan. So sometimes the time plan tends to be quite wordy and underworded too, for that matter. So I just want you to know that it's just an outline. It's an outline. It guides you as you are executing your SBA practical. It's a guide. It is a guide. You're not a slave to it. All right? But it is important for you to do it so you know exactly how you're going to allot your 2.5 hours that is given to you. How is it that you're going to execute certain tasks that is being asked of you? Which one you're going to do first? Which one you're going to do last? So that you're not scrambling in the practical SBA. So you need, and remember that one of the features I said is that it shows ease and dexterity. You have to show agility. You have to show that you understand what you're doing. And when you understand what you're doing, that's how the easement will come. All right? So let's look at the parts now of the time plan. The time plan has 3 parts: Section A, Section B, and Section C. Now, Section A is the section where you choose your dishes according to the task that is required of you. Now, the dishes that you choose or activities chosen as it relates to family resource management, but we're focusing on food and nutrition for now. So the dishes that you will choose according to the task that is given must have the main ingredients with quantities. Students tend to not see that word quantities. They just write some list of ingredients. It has to have the quantity. Remember, you are doing the time plan according to a task that is given. And you have to demonstrate understanding of the task. And understanding comes with accurate information. And accuracy must include quantity. Plan B. Plan B shows your plan of work. How is it you're going to allot this 2.5 hours? How is it that you're going to actually do this task that is given to you? How is it that you're going to prepare, execute this dish? What methods of cooking are you going to employ? And Section C is your grocery and special list, your special equipment. One of the other main reasons that why you need a time plan, it is cost friendly. A time plan eliminates excessive spending. Some persons tend to, this sounds nice, I'm going to do this. And they kind of go on a whim. And it very rarely turns out very well. So the time plan kind of condenses you. It gives you clarity, it gives you accuracy, and it gives you a sure grade 1. I promise you that. Now, this is a sample of what, I know it's kind of tilted, but I'm going to tell you the website where you can go and access this. So this is the first page of the time plan. The time plan, you'd see Caribbean Examinations Council, Secondary Education Certificate, plan sheet for school-based assessment in home economics. So this time plan and this sheet is unique to home economics, and only 2 subject areas under the umbrella requires a time plan, and that's food, nutrition and health and family resource management. On the website, it has a more updated form. So you'll have the name of the candidate, the registration number, the name of the center number, the territory, and the teacher's name. Some persons would say the assessor's name. And then at the bottom, you'll have the question or the task that you have been given. That's where it put at the front. This time plan is to be handed to your assessor at the beginning of the SBA, the practical assignment. Actually, you'll hand it to her before it even begins, so that she knows what you're doing, she knows what time you'll be doing a particular dish. So if she has questions that she will want to ask you, she knows which time slot she's going to ask it based on what you're executing at that particular time. All right? Now, section A, you try to interpret the question well and clearly outline your answers in the neatest and most accurate way. I mentioned that earlier. And in the most accurate way, the meaning that you give the accurate registration number, the accurate center number. The center number is unique to that center. So you cannot say you're at this center, which I will elaborate later on in the presentation. You can't say you're at this center and put a completely different center number. It's unique. All right, if asked to write a complete meal, apply all the rules of menu planning on the front, which is the sheet I showed earlier on the time plan. So when you're writing the list of ingredients, avoid opinions. Don't write 1 large tomato. Instead, write the exact measurement. Remember I said with quantities. So for example, 1/4 pound or 100 grams. And this is what the actual section A time plan sheet would look like. So you have a section over here that says, do not write in this margin for examiner's use only. So when the assessor is actually marking or grading you, this is where they'll put their comments. So you do not write in that section, all right? Section B, this is where you have your plan of work. So you have your setting up. And remember I said before, let me just get all of these up so we can just go through this properly. So we have our setting up in section B. And this French culinary term, mise en place, means putting everything in place, getting everything. So you're setting up your work area. You're having, say for example, you're making 6 different dishes. You're having your ingredients for your 6 different dishes on your work counter, on your work area, and you have your cover cloth, you have your trays, everything, and it's neatly assembled before you. You allocate time slots. I highly recommend 30-minute slots. When you use your 30-minute slots, you have this idea, okay, I have this much time to go, I have this much time to go. And in 2.5 hours, that's what? For 30 minutes, that's 5 slots for 2.5 hours. So you should have about 5 slots. But when we go to the actual creation of the time plan today, I'm going to show you a little trick that I use, how I break up the half-hour slots. Now, you need to bear in mind the length of time needed to cook or prepare each dish. You need to bear in mind that. For example, if you're going to be baking something, you're going to be using the method of cooking baking. And when you bake, say for example, the item says you bake for 30 minutes. You know that, and you have to, by the way, I just want to also interject this right here. Within the 2.5 hours, the 2.5 hours is not just to only prepare your dishes, The 2.5 hours includes washing up and presentation, garnishing and decoration of all your dishes. So you present it too within the 2.5 hours. So please don't think that the 2.5 hours is only for actually cooking or baking or whatever other method of cooking you're going to be using. You have to also remember that you must include your washing up, your presentation, garnishing, decoration of all your dishes. So I say all of that to say, when you bear in mind the length of time needed to cook each dish, there are things that you're going to employ when you're doing this. And this is what will show that you understand certain jargons to make your time plan less wordy. So you're going to use dovetailing skills. You're going to use multitasking skills. So the dovetailing is, if you're baking something for 30 minutes, are you going to stand by that oven and 1, 2? No. You allow it to do its thing and you start another dish. You can multitask. So for example, if you're chopping up seasoning, or if you're chopping up carrots for an arranged salad or whatever the dish is, and you're going to use carrot in another dish, just chop up all of the carrot one time now. Just chop up all of it one time. That's multitasking. So you already have that done for 2 dishes. So you cut time right there. And that is where we are seeing skill and dexterity in how you are executing your time planning. All right? You need to also bear in mind the temperature the dish must be served. I cannot elaborate this anymore. Hot must be served hot and cold must be served cold. When you're writing your time plans, if you know you have something you need to serve cold. So for the task may ask you to serve a cold dessert. You do it first. So you know it's in the fridge. So when the time comes to actually present, it's at the temperature in which it is to be served. Likewise for hot dishes. All right? So you use cooking methods and jargons to minimize the number of words used to describe tasks. I mentioned this before. I've been saying this before. When you use methods of cooking and jargons, it shows that you have a very good understanding of the theory that has been taught. So we're not putting the theory and the practical in isolation. Everything is integrated. In order for you to show competency in the practical skills, you must show understanding, or you have to execute the understanding in order to manifest competency. Let's continue. Section B continued. Now you're going to include the length of time each dish is to be cooked and the temperatures. I mentioned this before. Mention this too. They include the washing up after each 30-minute slot. Now, we are preparing you for the industry. Food and nutrition now is aligned to CVQ and NVQJ, all of those things. So that's the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, Level 1 in food preparation, commercial food preparation. Some persons may want to actually be assessed at that and to show competency and have that level 1 certification. Some persons may not. Nonetheless, we are teaching from that curriculum. We are preparing you for the industry. So we're giving you industry standards. And one of the industry standards is cleaning and maintaining hygiene. You must execute kitchen and personal hygiene. It is a must. It is a must. It is a must. All right, foodborne illnesses, industries don't play with that. All right, so you have to show, yes, you start from now, so that if you want to go into any one of these industries or even tertiary level to do, to continue food and nutrition, culinary arts, anything, you have all of these skills already because you have been training and practicing. And I mentioned the garnishing and decorations of all dishes. This must also be evident in your time plan. And this is what section B would look like. So you have the time here, the order of work, method, oven management, and of course you have that section that you do not write in. Section C. Now section C is your grocery list section. Oops. Let me go back to that. All right. So this is where now you're going to kind of look at all the ingredients that you have been using, and you're going to write a list of what you need to get in order to complete the task that has been given. Now this eliminates, like I said before, it eliminates excessive shopping and not buying like in bulk. So because you have measurements. Remember, quantities must be included in section A. So the same will apply to all our ingredients. So this is basically much mentioned throughout. And this is what section C would look like. So you would kind of tabulate. Well, we have been tabulating before, but you also compartmentalize your grocery, your shopping list. So we separate the vegetables and the fruits, we separate the groceries, and we separate the meat and the fish. All right? We also can put poultry down there. And that's for another time. Meat and poultry different. Another time. So we'll put that down there as well. And right here, you'll have your special materials, equipment needed. So this is if, for example, if you're going to be making a hot beverage, you need a percolator or an espresso machine, whatever it is, you'd put that here. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to purchase it, but it shows that you understand your skill and what you'll be using to achieve the task that has been given to you. And your time plan sheets, it is online. You can go to csec.org, see the website here, and on it you'll see site assets, other stuff, and you just click, you'll see the SBA form, plan sheets, HE5, and it's PDF. And you can always YouTube how to convert a PDF to a Word document, and you can just type in it. All right. So let's actually create a time plan now. We're going to now create a time plan based on everything that we just learned, everything that we should have now at our disposal. Now remember that first page I talked about where it showed you the subject that you would tick. So you'd now tick food and nutrition. And this is the information that you'd now plug into that section at the top where I said that you're going to give them accurate information. Your name, John Doe, your registration number. I'll soon tell you about that. The name of the center is the school in which you're going to sit the exam and do the actual practical examination where you'll be assessed. And every center has a unique center number to it. It's 6 digits. And that can easily be, you can get that easily from your subject teacher or administration from your school. Actually, you should know that from fourth form. Your teacher's name or the assessor's name, some persons may have that. Your territory, you are in Jamaica. Now, your registration number is a 10-digit number. That's what you'd get on your timetables, or you can even access it online once you have registered for your examination. You have registered for the subject area. It includes the 6 center number and 4 additional numbers that is unique to you, the candidate. All right? So it's 10 in all. The 4 is unique to you, and the 6 is the first 6 is your center number. And that is how you would complete it. And this is now, at the bottom now, this is where you'll put in the task that has been given to you. Now I'm deliberately choosing the actual SBA number 1 task. This is a task that has been given by CSEC. And it reads, your Aunt Jessica is finally home from her studies overseas. Plan a welcome home breakfast for her consisting of the following: a fresh fruit dish, 2 breakfast proteins as suitable accompaniments to the item below. And the item below is a batch of quick breads and choice of 1 hot beverage. And in addition, you are to prepare a milk-based smoothie. So now, in this task alone, you have a lot of topics here. We have fruit cookery, we have protein, breakfast cookery, we have quick breads, we have hot beverage, and we have milk-based beverages. So this is quite a bit, and all of this would have been covered already by your subject teacher before you can actually put everything together and do the SBA. So this was just something that my students and I did together, and I'm going to share with you. So in the activities chosen, they decided, let's go with a tropical bowl. And the tropical bowl It's one thing I should mention, but I'm going to mention it here. The opportunity presents itself now. When you're choosing your ingredients or your dishes, please, as much as possible, choose local produce. It's more nutritious, it's healthier, and above all, it tends to be cheaper. Now, I know some of these beautiful pictures on websites and in cookbooks, they look so nice and you believe wholeheartedly that you can execute it. And I know it's quite ambitious for some of you. But start small and then you graduate. All right? And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but practice that at home. And for the actual SBA, let us just employ what is required of us. So let us just now focus on local produce. All right? So our tropical bowl, and we are a tropical island, so fruits is just like in whole heap to us. So we have pineapples, we have June plum, melon, papaya, passion fruit, mango, and oranges. Now, you'll realize that there are measurements before them, and not only measurements, there are descriptions before them, adjectives, some verbs. Some would say cubed, segmented. My students wanted triangled papaya. They said that they will cut it in there. They wanted different shapes to create a variety, just to make it pleasing to the eye, because you eat with your eyes before your mouth. It has to be pleasing to you. So they wanted to create this picture, and they deliberately put it here. So when now I, as the assessor, take up this time plan, this is exactly what I should see, because this is what you say you're going to do. And I should not be seeing no basin of a tropical bowl. It says a bowl, so it should be in a bowl. And I probably should have mentioned this before too. When you're doing your time plan and you're creating your dishes, it should feed a minimum of 3 persons, just for SBAs. It should feed a minimum of 3 persons. So your presentation should be in platters and protein dish. And because you're going to decorate and garnish all of them, and you're going to have a presentation area. Your teacher will elaborate on that for you. All right? Because we're focusing on the time plan. And here are the equipment needed below. We have our paring knives, a fruit baller, cookie cutters, and bowls. And we did not list every single thing we're going to use, because there's one word here that did not ask for it. It said main. So if you have like a dash of salt, a little bit of this, you don't need to add that to it. All right? It just asks for the main. And we continue with, this is one of the protein dishes now, sunny side up eggs. And the reason why we decided to use sunny side up eggs, because when we look at breakfast cookery, eggs tend to come out in it. And so we kind of have egg cookery. And most of my students, unfortunately, they are not quite familiar with sunny side up eggs. So I don't want them to actually prepare, even though it is egg, I don't want them to make it the same way that they are accustomed to making it. I want diversification in the food. I want to see the actual skill of egg cookery being utilized in the SBA. Trust me, your assessor, it will wow your assessor that you actually know what you're doing, and that proves competence. All right? So like I said, it serves 3. So we have 3 whole eggs, and the rest is there. So it's similar to up top. Once you catch a pattern, you just mention the main ingredients. So the sunny side egg is just a repeat. So let's now look at this. Stewed sausage with baked beans. Now my students, they wanted this. They said, Miss, we love sausage and baked bean. But I said, but you can't call it sausage and baked bean on the time plan. It has to have a method of cooking. You must have a method of cooking. I don't know how much more I need to stress that. You must have a method of cooking. So even if you want stewed chicken or chicken, and you can't just write chicken. Cook up chicken, that's not a method of cooking. So we want to kind of go away from our dialect and the patois and employ the terminologies, the correct cooking methods and jargons within the subject area. All right? And that's how you kind of get that practice and familiarity with these words. Read. Just read your textbook. You hear? That's why you have it. Just read. All right? And sometimes you can talk, like, use the jargons in your everyday communication, even with your parents, even if they don't fully understand, still say it because you know. And who knows, that's a teaching moment that you can have with your family. So right here, just the same, you realize that we're sticking to the pattern with the quantities, the description, how we're going to actually have it. It's going to be sliced, it's going to be cubed, whatever it is, going to be diced, and then we have it here. Now, I just added this here, salt and pepper to taste, just for my students' benefit, but it doesn't have to be there, all right? And here are the main equipment, just the same, that has been listed. Now we're coming down with, they wanted to do waffles as a quick bread. Remember that the question asks for a batch of quick breads, and they wanted to do waffles because they have never really seen waffles before. And that's fine, or they don't really eat waffles, so it's not a common thing to them. So you can use the same pancake batter. So if you have a pancake recipe, a pancake batter recipe, you just add a little less water and you can make waffles. But waffles really can only be made on a waffle iron or a waffle maker. That's what makes it a waffle, with the shape of it. So if you don't have that, then you just probably have to stick to pancakes. Now, the quick breads tend to normally cook at high temperatures, and the method of preparing is fairly quick. That's why it's a quick bread. So you don't handle the dough as much as you would a cake batter. So it's a very quick putting together preparation and high temperature quick baking. So other quick breads can include Johnny cake, fried dumpling that we are used to, muffins, savory muffins. And I just want you to know, you see some of the muffins that we eat, they're a little too sweet. Muffins really ought not to be sweet. Muffins is more on the savory side, all right? So just want to let you know that, because I know some persons listening when you say, muffin, no, but me eat that for dessert. No. It's supposed to be more on the savory side, and it's to be had with a protein. Or you can even have it with a cup of coffee. So, but that's for another time. Let's move on. So it said a milk-based smoothie. My students, they wanted pumpkin smoothie because them said them father cook it and it tastes nice. And this is the recipe that they gave me. It's a milk-based, so you have to include milk. You must include milk. It don't have to be whole milk. You can use soy milk if you're allergic or you're lactose intolerant. You can use coconut milk, because the question didn't specify the type of milk. It just said milk-based. All right? You can use evaporated milk, and you kind of get the gist. All right, let's go to the plan of work now. So the plan of work that we have here, and this is the trick I wanted to kind of share with you. I break up mine, the first time that is there and the last time that is there, I split the half hour into 50, I split it in two. So I have 15 minutes there in between. So I start with my 15 minutes, and the only thing you need to write on your time plan is mise en place. That's all you need to write. That means getting everything in place, putting everything in its place. This is self-explanatory for the first 15 minutes. And then you actually you begin your time slots now of your 30 minutes. And you can actually indicate what exactly you're going to prepare. So we're going to start with our tropical bowl, because our tropical bowl should be served chilled, not room temperature. So when we do this, we're going to put it in the refrigerator. We put it to chill. And that should be mentioned in the time in this area. This is mentioned so that the examiner knows, oh, so it should be cold. It should be not room temperature, you know? So all of that is mentioned here. And you realize it's not so worded. So right here, you don't need to say, I'm going to use a knife now, cut triangles. No. Cut all fruits in desired shapes. So English language going to play out a lot here, all right? So you're going to have to use words, use your thesaurus as best as possible and stuff like that. And it goes on. The same, the pumpkin punch can be done here because you want it cold. You can even switch the place with the pumpkin punch and the tropical fruits, you know. So you could switch it here. And you kind of get the understanding here. So you go whatever you can do within your 5-minute slots, your 30-minute slot here. Same here. And I just want you to see that we're actually covering everything. Prepare the sunny side up egg. We do the coffee last because we need it to serve hot. And then at the last 15 minutes, garnish and present all dishes. You call your examiner. All right? This is it for your list of ingredients. You just pull everything together and you realize you have it there. Just pull out, just basically add up everything that you're using. And there you have it. And that's it. We have covered what is a time plan, parts of the time plan, features of each part of the time plan, and the content required for each time plan. And we have just created our own time plan. All right? You're now going to complete your KWL chart and fill out what it is that you have learned. All right?